Welcome to UK Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host, Yukai Kechidori.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us here on the show. And as you know, every now and again, I get some outstanding guests that truly are doing great things out in the world. And today is one of those days. I'm joined on the show by a dear friend of mine all the way from Spain, Christoffel Sneijders, who is known for the most amazing strategy or theory, really, which when you look in history, probably over 150 years ago, Charles Darwin was talking about this theory. And at some point, somewhere, a lot of people forgot about it. And Christoffel has been helping people understand the connection between the brain, the heart, and the gut. And today we are going to explore that. You may be wondering, why would you want to do that? Because it is understanding these three brains, so to speak, that's going to allow you to overcome personal blockages, blockages that are stopping you from achieving whatever you want to achieve as we know it in today's world. Well, if you want to do that, or maybe you want to help somebody close to you overcome personal blockages or certain failures or certain limitations, you want to listen to today's conversation so that you can help that person either tomorrow, maybe next year, or whenever that will be. Christoffel, thank you so much for joining us here on the show, man.
I'm really honored to be here. It is a great pleasure to be here because I know that people who follow you really are having their heart at a good place and really want to establish their personal success or also in the community. So it's an honor to be here and to talk with you about, say, all the greatness we can bring to people.
Yes, amazing. One of the things I love about you is the concept we are going to be discussing today. You have been teaching, practicing them for nearly 30 years now, and you have been teaching it across the globe, from Australia here in Europe, the Americas, even South America. So you have tested the concept. Talk to us about how you discover the three brains theory.
Actually, like almost every thing we experience in life, our personal experiences a lot of times drive us in what we do.
Yes.
So like everybody in life, I had my ups and downs, a burnout, a divorce, and that's in the last 20 years that happened. And every time something happened, I thought, why did it happen to me? I thought I learned so much, I knew so much, past tense purposely, and actually I know so little. Of course, when my burnout happened, I already was almost 10 years and a behavioral leadership and sales coach. And still it happened. 10 years later, I got a divorce, and I thought I learned in between so much to overcome it. And again, I hit rock bottom. And it really sparked me from, what am I missing? What, just like you say, what is the block that we have that brings actually that greatness? And in my search, I came aware of somatic training and coaching, and they talk about the feelings and connecting, say, your thoughts with your feelings. And I always ask, okay, dear teacher, where's the feelings coming from? Who's in charge of our feelings? Who's in charge of our emotions? And then they said the body, and I said, okay, then who's in charge of the body? And a lot of teachers said, I don't know. And on one moment I came aware by browsing some information, I came aware that there was a book written, The Second Brain, by Michael Gershon. And I thought, hey, that gives an answer. If the gut is a brain, then it explains why when we are anxious, say, we really feel it in our gut. And almost in the same moment, I became aware of, say, another research done by Andrew Amour. And he talks about the little brain on the heart, and he's a neurocardiologist. And I thought, if that is true, then it gives also an answer from, hey, why we have so much heart pain when we break up. And I started just actually to play with it in my trainings, what I did for clinical hypnotherapy and for coaching. And actually my students were my guinea pigs, which I don't know that they knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I came aware actually it worked. And also with my clients or patients, you could call them, I started to apply it. And I had really in front of my eyes, massive change in people that I thought, oh, I would have loved to have that also when I was in pain. I would have signed up for that change. And,
Yeah.
and that really sparked more and more research until it really, now, it is where it is now from, hey, we have three brains scientifically. They have actually a different responsibility. And that insight that our three brains not only exist, but have a different responsibility explains almost right away why we have so many now blocks in our own personal achievement, if it's now personal or work life. And why am I so passionate about it? Because if we know that not only our work life becomes better, but every relationship you have can become better. Because the moment you know that, hey, somebody comes home is tired, that means his or her gut brain is actually active because it is now in self-preservation mode. Okay, that means if I connect with that person, I have to connect in a different way than saying, hey, I also worked hard, I had the kids today. Because that just creates a fight. We know that, but it doesn't work. And the second thing is, I don't know how it's with you, but we all have that feeling sometimes that, especially when you're hungry, you go to the kitchen, your head says, let's go for something healthy because, hey, you like to keep that six-pack somewhere in shape. You open the fridge, you see the cheesecake, you see the chocolate, you see the red wine, you see maybe leftover, you think from, oh, that's actually really yummy. And then you have that internal discussion, will it go for health or will it go for yummy? And that's actually when your head is talking to your gut brain and having an internal discussion. And 9 out of 10, the gut brain will win. And we walk away with the cheesecake, the pizza, maybe chocolate, wine, and all the kind of other things. Right. And after we finish that, of course, we feel guilty because we knew we should have done something else. I know it's a long answer, but right away it connects with the answers somewhere we actually can solve.
Wow, incredible. And one of the things that is interesting about this study that they made and the discovery you had is, when you look at the world, we tend to treat these three brains, so to speak, differently. You have psychologists that talks about your what's happening in your brain. You've got others that addresses your heart, and you also have others that talk about, very few talks about what's happening in your gut feeling. Is that the same discovery you have encountered?
Absolutely. I will not call it my frustration, but it is partly. If you look at, say, I'm a clinical psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, and I'm executive coach, the highest level in ICF accreditation, MCC. And when you look at the education, if it's now psychiatrist, psychologist, coach gets, it's almost always connected with the logic in the head. As long as we know, we can change. Yes. And then you have an other field that is somewhere in the somatic world and the world, and it tries to connect it with the body. And if you go to the average MBA, where sometimes I'm visiting professor, it's again all in logic and about winning. That's actually head brain and heart brain. And you see all those fields really separated. And when you really look, say, what makes people change, what makes people develop, what makes people happy, healthy, thriving, and successful, it's actually when you combine all three of them.
That's right.
If you live in the UK, so it's an assumption that you like soccer.
Yes.
But and you have strikers, you have a midfield and defenders and a goalie. And why are there actually almost 3 lines in the field? But it's always the rule of 3, and you have to have them. Now, the same as actually in our body, we have 3 actually different kind of responsibilities to help us out, to help us thrive. The only pity is what you said. Darwin came aware of it 150 years ago. What they picked out to make popular is survival of the fittest, and the other things they forgot what he said. If you think about it, it makes sense. There was once one of those French philosophers said, "I think, therefore I am," and it kept somewhere that way. And if you look at the Western, I would really say the Western science and Western medical science, it's all say separated and it's all based on logic. We disconnected actually from our body. it is a pity because we miss so much.
Yeah, I think it's one of the reasons why we end up having these blockages. And I think when we fully understand and appreciate the different roles that our brains, our heart, and even our feeling, the gut feeling, has, and we really respond accordingly, we have a balanced life. And that's one thing that you talk about. But I want to talk about, jump on to talk about, how is this knowledge able to assist anybody overcome their blockages?
Beautiful question, and actually it is extremely simple. Maybe in the solution, and let's go one step back. I said every time we spoke about three brains, and the three brains have a different responsibility. I said quickly.
Yeah.
So when you look, say, at our head, actually the main reason why we have a memory, what is that? That is actually to predict. The main objective and responsibility of our head is actually to give a right prediction, to think what will happen, cause and effect. If you go back, when we are born, the most important thing for us to survive is the bond with our parents or our caregivers. Without that bonding, there is no life.
That's right.
Our heart is actually the center, and really the brain is the center of bonding. It also releases the neurotransmitter oxytocin, the love hormone, that helps us to bond. And that's why we can feel heartbroken. And I cannot get it over my heart to do this to them. It has the responsibility to bond and not to hurt others. And if you think about the gut is actually our oldest system where we all come from. If you look 500 million years ago, when life started on this earth, then we actually were all kind of little organisms, but were, say, with this only objective, get some nutrients in and excrete them again, poop them out. And our gut system is actually that, and it has the same responsibility. It is our immune system, keep us alive. It has a lust for life. So if you say to somebody, follow your gut, actually what you say to him, do what is good for you.
That's right.
If you say to somebody, follow your heart, what you actually say is do what is good for everybody else. If you say follow your logic or follow your head, what happens then is that there is a logical decision where all the emotions is out. Now, if you listen to those three, you hear three different advices actually. Take care of myself, take care of the others. Let's do it logical according to an Excel sheet. Let's be the financial director now. And that does not work. And what we do actually, and what keeps us stuck, is that we all have a preference what is more dominating in us. I'm more a heart person, more a gut person, more a head person. And when we are not aware of it, we will always follow our dominant brain. And it means we miss out the advices we get from others. And when we talk about blocks and the mistakes we make, when we have a regret about something that happened that we didn't succeed, you really, and if I really ask them, my clients, hey, if you look back, what kind of signals did you get that you didn't listen to? They always say, I should have listened to my head, my heart, or my gut more. One of the three. They actually got the signals, but never listened to them because they did not know actually they were valid signals.
Amazing. Yes. I love how you have separated all three definitions. It makes perfect sense. How do we then know how to balance things out? Because ultimately, we want to live a very balanced life. Talk of people like me. We're working in professional life, and then you're talking of our home life, and we've got all these three brains working in us. Help me understand how best we can utilize this to achieve a work-life balance.
Again, a beautiful question. If you say what I almost advise to everybody is say you like to make a decision, because everything you do is based on decision, then to ask yourself, hey, is this logical? Say I would follow my heart, what would I do? And say I would follow my gut feeling, what would I do? And really sit down for a moment and become aware of those three insights.
Right.
From those three insights, I almost say put them in the table in front of you, so and get a perspective, and then say, hey, what are actually the three insights I have, and how can I make actually one combined advisement. There's one side going left, the other side is going right, and the other one is silent. Hey, what's actually happening? Okay, maybe I should really start combining those. So where do I set my own boundaries? Where do I follow that? What can I do? So what we need to do in there, in another way to explain it, most of us know what we think.
Right.
Most of us don't really know what is our heart feeling, what's our gut feeling, because we are, say, a little bit less connected with that for most people. Or actually, they also speak in different language, because your head is where we speak English with. Your heart and your gut only give sensations, the feeling of hungry, the feeling of a heartbroken thing. So we have to come aware, hey, those sensations are there. What would they mean? So that's why I come back what I said. Say you would follow your heart. What would you do? And then really sit down and feel it. And the same, hey, say I would follow my gut. What would I do? So when you talk about, I say, I could say the average company owner or leader, most of them, they put a lot of hours in their work.
That's right.
And a lot of times they think it through. And they only can last for a long time without getting a burnout if they also follow their passion. Or you have the other side, you have the passionate people who already have a dream to achieve, but forget actually to think about where they are put my own boundaries. So if you look at the healthcare system, in the healthcare system, a lot of people are there because they follow a purpose and a passion. And those people a lot of times don't do a lot of self-care. So burnout and other kind of diseases are just around the corner. Because they never ask the question, what is good for me? Say I would follow my gut feeling, what would I say then on this moment? Because if there's a question, hey, my patient needs this, I need that, then most times they would still follow their dominant heart and they work for the patient instead of saying, no, I have to do a nap. A lot of, say, business owners who follow the MBA track, right? They forgot actually their heart. They think about, now say the American style, I have a quarterly reporting system. I have to do my sales, I have to do my profit, I have to do my revenue. There's really gut-brain language. And what do you see as the counter of that? That people feel totally disengaged in their team. As bringing in examples from what will those questions do to you?
Well, I'm liking how you're breaking what seemingly is a very complex topic, and I'm sure Bill in our audience and many people beginning to get clarity on the roles of the three brains. Let's talk about somebody who is now aware that there is these three different parts of them that have got a separate responsibility, different responsibility, but it's all for your personal good. And they want to get started. Maybe they start with what we've already talked about. In your opinion, what are some of the mistakes you observe people who want to go for it make? And oftentimes they don't even realize that they're making it, or they are just stopping them from achieving what they want to achieve.
Actually, ask people when they, and Marshall Goldsmith said it, what brought you here will not bring you there. So actually really take that moment of silence, say, if I would ask myself in my work now or in my life now, but we talk about business owners in your work now, what do I follow the most? The logical, strategical path? Do I follow the most my passion and taking care of the others? There it is, the clients, my employees, and why I do it. Or do I follow much more, say, the financial things and what it brings to me and my beautiful path? Which one actually am I following the most? Right. And from there, which one do I actually follow the less? Because in that moment, I can become aware, probably there is where I say, fail in my words to go to the next step. Because if I coach somebody, 9 out of 10, the problem lies is that they only follow their dominant brain, or that they don't listen to the brain that is almost silent. That's and right. The moment I let those two come aware, most of them say already, oh, Chris, actually, I now see it totally clearly. We're done. And then I say, we're only 20 minutes in the coaching, we still have 40 minutes to go. What do you like to do the next 40 minutes? They said, let's have a coffee. And wow, I get totally enthusiastic. And then they asked me, how can it be so simple, Chris? I said, now, the moment actually you know where to find the key, then life is easy. And we are actually extremely simple creatures. Darwin said the same. We are not so complex. We make it complex because we like to go dive in, deeper in all the little things. We have more than 80 specialities in the medical world. So our body is cut down in 80 specialities from the medical world. Now that makes it really complex. But if you think about our basic needs, they're extremely simple.
This is a pure masterclass, Chris, that you're bringing here. I know there will be people that wants to learn further. I know you have this masterclass you run as a regular. I think for people that wants to further their training or their understanding around the three brains, would you let people know where they can find it?
I would say it's extremely easy. It's called the Three Brains Academy.
Right.
That's my website. And on there you find, say, some beautiful programs where you actually can master three brain coaching. That is for leaders and for coaches. And for I see there business owners and managers and leaders in my training who say, okay, I'm coaching, leading my team or my company. I like to do that better because I see I have pitfalls, but I don't know where. I see the pitfalls in my people, but I don't know how to guide or coach them. Or coaches, now, make sense, who help their clients most times better. And the beauty is when I started this, I got in my training coaches who had 20, 30, 40 years experience.
Right.
And I really had to oh, wow, they did so much training. I'm wondering if I now can bring something to them. And really, it's almost like a little imposter syndrome that happened. And most of those MCC coaches, because in ICF you have three levels. ACC is the first level, PCC is the second level, MCC is master coach. Yeah. Especially those that sounds like, Chris, this is amazing. I'm now 20, 30 years in the field. What's happening? And I had one coach who came back to me and she said, and I met her actually recently in Texas when I gave a presentation to one of the coaches. She said, Chris, what I always remember after a training, I saw an executive, I coached him for a long time and he was totally stuck. And I was actually also stuck, although I'm experienced. I tried all the different models. And I thought, let's just give it a go, what I learned from Christoffel. It sounds a bit strange, but let's just do it. So she asked the person, and really one of the persons who really CCC shoot in a company with massive amount of experience. And she said, if we just sit down for a moment. And she said, say you would just forget everything you know for this moment. And stop thinking. And would just follow your heart. What would you do? And he was silent for, I think, 20 seconds. He said, so I got a little bit nervous. And, okay, what's happening? He's silent for 20 seconds. Never happened. He says, then probably I would do it totally different. From there, the whole conversation broke up. And he actually got an insight that, as he said to her, I would have loved to have that insight 2 years ago. Then my business would have been now totally different and really thriving. And he said, what you just asked was the best question anybody ever asked me. Let us sit down. And she thought just like me, but that's a simple question. A lot of people asked that. She said, no, because the way you asked it was so amazing. Because after you asked, we say, now just imagine that you would just follow your gut. What would you do then?
That's right.
And in that moment, he had something like, he was really moving in his chair. So then I would probably adjust what I just said to this. And then you saw almost a light bulb coming above his head. I said, okay, now I have it totally clear. I now know what I should do to make it good for me, to make it good for them, and how it makes sense. And she said, I always say to everybody, no, those two questions, although they sound so extremely simple, if you do it correctly on the right moment, they're so powerful that almost everybody makes a massive change. But now, if you like to learn that, I would say Three Brains Academy, because if you give that answer, there's one thing that I always like to get it. This sounds easy, but people have to connect with their own heart and gut. But most of us in life have beliefs. We have limiting beliefs. And if we believe Bruce Lipton from the book The Beliefs, he would say there 90% is learned before the year 7. That is how we believe, how we do relationships, our values, and those kind of things. And if people have a really strong belief, this simple question will not change, and they have to do something else. And then three-brain coaching really steps in. From there, you learn how can you actually unblock that limiting belief on an easy way.
Yeah.
The same if you experience, say, in my words, a trauma, what we all can do, and horrible divorce, a death in a family, maybe you went bankrupt twice, you had your money on one of those silicon banks, and in one moment you lost almost all your savings. Then also that can stop you to listen to actually the other brains, because right away, most times your gut brain will say, don't go there. You burned yourself once.
Because of previous experience.
Yes. And again, if you do three-brain coaching, you can help people rather easily to put that emotion in the past. Because as I said, your head only knows tomorrow and yesterday. Your heart and your gut only live in now.
That's amazing. You are delivering very good content here for everybody. Truly, what could change other people's lives here. Chris, as we come toward the end of our time together, what has surprised you the most about the concept that you are teaching about this three brains theory? Had you known about this concept before you started, it would have made you to rush and to do it. What has surprised you the most?
Actually, that only there are 2 books written about it. One by me and one by a person in Australia who pitifully passed away 4 years ago, about that we have 3 brains that are connected. And what surprises me is that nobody, now except you and Lof, know about it. We all say to people, follow your heart, follow your gut, or whatever. But actually that we don't go to that step, what Darwin already said, we have 3 of them. And that surprises me sometimes, that I sometimes, when I explain to people, think I'm almost a little liar or cheeker, or I'm going to say the obvious thing. Because I really assume we all know this. And when I started to learn it, actually, and it also surprised me from, oh, wow, I should have loved to know that earlier. Then a lot of my clients would have had massive change much easier.
Yes. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, Chris, we would love to have you back and talk about, how to live a balanced life, or even the easiest one. It's easier to you to talk about how to create a true team of, say, people you work with, employees, or people that helps you to achieve your goals. I think it's one of those areas that you absolutely shine. And if time permits, certainly wants to have you back and share your experience and your knowledge with everybody.
I would right away say yes to that, because if you work with teams, and say on the business school, I see it so many times when I use this concept, when we create, say, little working groups, then I see almost their performance almost double. So I would love to share, say, some of those simple techniques or concepts whenever you want. So I almost say, I would say yes, I reach my hand out, and whenever you grab it, I'm there again.
Absolutely. We would definitely want to talk about that, because, leaders works with teams. I learned earlier on in my career as a professional business owner, you cannot achieve anything of value without involving other people, and that's including teams. So we want to talk about that, learn how
Absolutely.
to do it great way. That's awesome.
Absolutely, because just one thing, you love soccer. If you look at Chelsea, you right away see what's the importance of a team. Yes. They already had now their 3rd coach in half a year. And it's not the people, because the players are freaking amazing, awesome, all of them individually. But they don't play as a team. So yesterday you got beaten by Real Madrid. Impossible. On paper, they should have wiped Real Madrid off the field. And then you see the power of the team. So love to share that.
It will be amazing. Well, if you want to learn more about the power of 3 brains, go to this website, 3brainsacademy.com. That's 3brainsacademy.com and connect with my dear friend here, Chris, and you will be able to discover what a lot of people are becoming aware of and beginning to take advantage of, really discovering what they can do with their body. And when you do that, you become unstoppable. You'll be able to achieve those goals that you want to achieve. But most importantly, this is what really matters to me, Chris. In fact, that's the reason we wanted you to be here on the show, Chris. And it is when you become better, when you can self-manage, when you become a well-balanced person, you will become a person of value to your immediate family, to your community, to even your country, and ultimately to our world. We want you to become better so that we can have a better world. With you taking into account and applying the principles we are learning, and that Chris teaches, you become one of those. Imagine a world where people really, truly are engaged with themselves, with their brain, their heart, and their gut, and they're operating seamlessly in the right way. What our world would look like? What will your life look like? What will your family's life look like? What's the legacy you're going to leave? So I want to encourage you, if you haven't already taken the website down, to take it down and really visit it so that you will be able to learn what it is. Again, that website is www.3brainsacademy.com. Alternatively, you can reach out to my friend on LinkedIn. Just put in Christoffel. You'll be able to find straight away, the details. In fact, I know that Chris wrote 2 great books that you can find on Amazon. One is on relationships. We didn't talk about that. In fact, talk about the book on relationship that you have. Is a great book.
And it is now, of course, you ask, it is relationships, which brain is talking. And I wrote it actually because just what you just shared as a beautiful sentence to make this world a better place. We're all in relationships. So I wrote the book actually for everybody, just to call where, how does relationships work? Which brain is talking? Because that's what we actually spoke about. If you know, if the head, the heart, or the gut is talking from the person you are in relationship with personally or business-wise, life becomes different. So that book is really, I would say, amazing. And I still remember that once I had a business leader, he came to me in Madrid. I said, he came with my book, totally almost torn apart. I said, you're going to teach this to my whole team. And I said, this is a relationship book about more personal relationships. Yeah, I know, but about relationships. I said, this concept they all should learn, because then it will benefit my whole team, but also all the colleagues we work with and all my clients. And I said, are you going to ask me if I like to do it? I said, no, I'm not going to ask you it. You're going to do it.
That's amazing.
But he was so passionate about it that I almost said, okay, I do it. And then I said, but by the way, do you like to know what I asked for it, for the fee? He said, the answer is yes. I said, that's such a wrong answer.
Incredible. Yes, but there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Go get the book. We will put the link for the book as well below this recording for you to easily access that. And when you've done that, this is just the beginning. And can I encourage you to apply the principles that you learn? We don't want you to just have piles of books or have so many websites. We want you to go ahead and do what a lot of people don't do, to apply what they discover. And when you do that, that's where real change becomes possible. We want you to get closer to your goal, from where you are to where you want to be. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, live well, live with passion. Know that the best is truly yet to come. Again, Chris, it's been an honor having you on the show.
It was a real pleasure to be here and to share this with you and to all your audience, because all your audience, they have the same beautiful passion as you, and that's so amazing. A community of people who like to make this world a better place for themselves and others.
Indeed. Thanks again. Goodbye, everyone. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to UK Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.ukbusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.